Everything pointed to the same conclusion. The dog had decided the baby was his. They were all wrong, including the dog trainer they hired to fix it. When Nadia and Emmett Calvert brought their daughter home from the hospital, their Bernese Mountain Dog, Bear, spent the first 3 days in the corner of the living room, watching. That was it, watching. He did not approach the baby. He did not whine. He did not show any of the classic signs the trainer would flag. He simply watched, enormous and still, with the patience of an animal that had made a private decision and was waiting for the right moment to act on it. Solon was 4 days old when Bear first moved. Nadia was transferring Solon from the nursing pillow to the bassinet. Bear rose from his corner, crossed the room in 4 strides, and placed himself between Nadia and the bassinet before she reached it. Nadia stopped. Bear looked at the baby. He looked at Nadia. He exhaled through his nose and did not move. Emmett came in and saw it. He called Bear's name. Bear turned his head 40 degrees and turned back to the baby. They traded a look over the dog's back. Nadia stepped around him and put Solon down. Bear repositioned. He was now beside the bassinet, not in front of it, facing outward. Guarding, Emmett said. That was their word for it. Guarding. It felt like the most charitable interpretation. They held on to it for 11 days. On the 12th day, Solon developed a low fever, 99.4. Not alarming. Pediatricians hear 100.4 before they begin considering action. Nadia noted it and went to check on the baby every 30 minutes, as any careful mother does. Bear would not leave the bassinet. He shifted position each time Nadia moved in the room, keeping himself between her and Solon in a way that had stopped looking like loyalty and started looking like something she did not have language for. She called the dog trainer she trusted. His name was Glenn, and he had 14 years with large breed behavior and had consulted for 2 county shelters. He came that afternoon. He watched Bear for 20 minutes. He said, "Classic resource guarding. The dog has identified the infant as a high-value resource. He is protecting access. You need to recondition the association immediately, or this escalates." He left them a protocol. Step 1, remove the dog from the room when the baby is present. Step 2, reintroduce on leash with positive reinforcement for appropriate distance. They started that night. Bear went to the back bedroom. Door closed. He sat against it for 2 hours without making a sound. If you stay for stories about what animals sense before we do, you're in the right place. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Solon's fever did not break. On day 2, it climbed to 100.1. On day 3, Nadia called the pediatrician, who said to monitor and bring her in if it reached 100.4. Bear had now been separated from the baby for 60 hours. Through the closed bedroom door, he had not barked. He had not scratched. He lay against the door and breathed. At 4 a.m. on the 4th morning, Emmett heard a sound from the back bedroom. Not a bark, a low percussive impact. Bear's full body pressed against the door, regular, like something marking time. Emmett opened the door. Bear went directly to Solon's bassinet without looking at either of them. He pressed his nose to the side of the bassinet, near where Solon's face was turned. Emmett watched. Bear's nostrils moved with that same focused rhythm Nadia had noticed on the first day. Not excitement, not aggression, something else, something careful and deliberate and aimed. Emmett woke Nadia. Solon's temperature read 100.6. At the emergency pediatric clinic at 5:30 a.m., Dr. Priyanka Venkat ordered a full panel. The results came back before sunrise. Solon had a bloodstream infection, An early-stage bacterial sepsis, caught at a point where the window for effective treatment is still open. Dr. Venkat looked at them carefully. She said, "Newborn sepsis is one of the most dangerous early presentation conditions, precisely because it looks like almost nothing until it doesn't. At the stage, we caught this. The prognosis is excellent. 4 hours later, and we would be having a significantly more serious conversation. Has your dog ever done something that made no sense until it was the only thing that made sense? Tell us in the comments. These stories deserve to be heard." Nadia called Glenn the next afternoon. He listened. He was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "I've been doing this 14 years. I don't know what to tell you. What I called resource guarding. I don't know what to call it now." The behavioral explanation that came later from a veterinary olfactory researcher was this: dogs can detect early-stage infection through the specific chemical compounds produced by bacterial activity in the blood and tissue. Compounds that change the scent of an infant's breath and skin before any fever registers on a thermometer, before any symptom is visible, before any parent knows something is wrong. Bear had been alerting from day 4. Every time he placed himself between Nadia and the bassinet, he was not guarding. He was marking the source of what he smelled and staying close to it. Every time he looked between them, he was reading for a response. Every night against the closed door, he was waiting to get back to his post. Glenn had watched him for 20 minutes and applied a 14-year framework to something his 14 years had not prepared him to see. Every guardian deserves to be recognized, even the ones who never asked for anything in return. If stories like this matter to you, subscribe so you never miss the next one. Bear came home to a bassinet that smelled like antibiotics and clean cotton. He stood beside it for a long time, nose working in that slow reading way, and then he exhaled and lay down on the floor beside it. He did not guard again. Whatever he had been reading had changed. The air around his baby smelled like safety now, and that was the only thing he had ever been after. Next time, a dog who would not stop barking at a section of wall in the nursery. 3 days later, what was inside that wall changed the family's understanding of the house they had lived in for 6 years.